What's going on, YouTube world? Welcome to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Dusty, and this is the Shred Academy. Today, we're gonna talk about what it's like going from the green jump line with pretty mellow lips, maybe 10-foot tabletops, to the blue line with much steeper, taller lips with a longer distance to clear to the landing. Now, there's a lot of similarities and a couple differences between going from your mellow green jumps to your steeper, longer blue jumps. Hey guys, I want to thank everyone who's reached out to help me go to the Fox US Open. There has been a number of you, and I can't thank you enough. All those names should be going across the bottom of the screen right now. If you'd like to become a sponsor, the link is in the description of this video. It's $100. You get your name on my jersey. I'll shout you out on the channel. If you have a company you'd like me to support, I can put that logo on the jersey. So really appreciate the help, guys, as well as you guys becoming a Patreon. That helps support the channel to survive. If you have super thanks, there's a Venmo link or the PayPal. Just make sure it's all friends and family, or PayPal will hold it for like 30 days, and that sucks. I only get half of super thanks, so when you give me 20 bucks, I probably see 12 of that. So that's just how their taxation works. They take 40% off the top, and then taxes is another 10 or so percent. So there's a way around that: Venmo or PayPal, friends and family. Okay, let's get to the content. The one thing that's gonna remain constant is the form we're gonna look to, and that's the Jhop form. I'm gonna be honest, I don't recommend moving forward off of the green line if you're still using that two-wheeled hop form off the jumps. I've heard a lot of people in the comments say, oh, it's fine for beginners, but the habits we set as beginners shape or form the riders we become to be. So setting yourself up for success early in jumping is super important. So if you're not dialed on your Jhop, or you don't even know what that is, go back in my catalog and find it. It's great. I'll try to put it in the links below. Now, the two things that are gonna really change between going from your mellow green lips to your steeper blue lips, and that's gonna be the speed you need to make it up the lip and to clear the actual length of jump, and the amount of leaning back we're doing. Now, I'll also say, on a blue jump with a longer lip, your body weight preload is less pronounced. It's not that it's not there, but you may not see it as much because the lip and the angle of the lip and your body positions are really what's gonna create that rear shock preload, not that initial body set sag into it. That can have some effect on your really short, steeper lips where you have to get that momentum going, but again, at no time should we be forcing the suspension down in our body weight preload. Now, I'm gonna try to show you all these subtleties using a version of this program that I have where we're just gonna vanish from one type of jump to the other and see where we stack up at certain points of the lip. And we'll see how we fare at the end. So we're gonna say you're clearing the green line and you're ready to move on to the blue line. The first thing we can do when stepping up to the blue line is actually have a look at the jump. Now, I don't mean going and walking on the jump, but you could surely go have a look at it, see if there's anything special about the lip, right? And kind of get a chance to see how you're gonna have to go in the air and start to visualize. The second thing you can do is have a slow roll. Now, this is what a slow roll looks like. Your goal is just to kind of land right at the top of the jump, just to get a feel for the lip. So this is what that looks like. my first pointer is don't rely on speed. If you're not comfortable with the jump yet, speed isn't going to get you over. Your form is going to get you over. And speed isn't going to keep you safe. A good form is going to keep you safe. Second thing is please don't try to jump from point A to point B. That's going to take you out of your J-hop form and end with you in that OTB. Yeah, you're going to go OTB. All right, guys, so let's talk about speed. And we use these slow rolls to kind of find out, how the lip feels, how much speed it takes to get up the lip. Taller lips, you need more speed to get up there. So these slower rolls are going to help us gauge how much speed we need to get from point A to point B without actually having to try to jump there, jump forward to there. So as you do this, it might take maybe 1 or 2, but you'll eventually be like, all right, I can come into this jump with twice this speed, and I'll be able to clear that gap. This is a safe way of determining how much speed you're gonna need instead of just, all right, let's go this fast. Remember, pre-ride, re-ride, free ride. Until you've got years of experience, right, can you just really look at a jump, gauge trail speed, and then just be able to send a jump just kind of by looking at it. So if you're just progressing, please use the pre-ride, re-ride, free ride, and these slow rolls to gauge your speed to get off these jumps. And always use the smaller side before you go straight to the bigger side. All right, guys, so gauge your speed, use those slow rolls. Let's move on. All right, now that we've talked about speed, let's talk about where things are going to happen on the lip. They're the same, but they vary slightly. So let's talk about some timing. First off, our preload. Now, as I come into the screen here on the green jump, if we pay attention, right here, I start my preload. Notice how bent my arms here are versus here. Okay, so I'm starting that preload at the bottom of the transition here. I'm not holding it, starting at 20 feet back and holding it all the way till I get here. We want everything to be a fluid motion, right? We don't want any sharp angles. All right, very fluid. Now, let's scoot on over to our blue jump here. Now, because of this tree that's off in the corner, you're not able to see me initiate my body preload at the bottom of the transition. Oop, hit the wrong button. So as I come in to this screen, I'm kind of already in it because 1, I'm traveling fast, right? And 2, there's a tree there. Now, again, please don't preload and then hold it forever just because you see me come into the screen already preloaded. My preload is for sure happening right before this transition. Now that we've talked about where our preload is happening, let's start to talk about where we're going to go through the motions and how the timing is different. And then we'll talk about body position. So with a longer lip here, the difference is going to be timing on where you're going to start your explosion. Now, if we look at the length of this lip versus the length of this lip, as I come into the screen here, okay, I start my explosion maybe a foot-ish back from the edge of the lip. And that's me pushing my feet into the lip, creating a counterweight with my upper body so that my front wheel can continue going in the air. Right? And then I go through the whole motion. Now, if we go over to the taller lip, the difference is as I come in, okay, I start to go up the transition. Now, because I have a longer distance to travel before I reach that, 8 to a foot back from the edge of the lip here, I'm going to be holding this preloaded position going up the lip. Now again, this also adds to the reason why you don't want to use a forceful body weight preload, because this extra travel time, trust me, your suspension is going to be trying to rebound. All right. So your initial body weight preload is then starting your rear suspension preload by G forces of you going up this transition and changing direction. Now, as we travel up the lip and I get to that, a foot before the lip, this is when I start to push into the lip, use my body as a counterweight so my front wheel can continue at the same angle of the lip. And then I go through the motions, right? And explode off that rear tire and have fun sailing through the air. So the main difference in timing is we just have this distance to travel up till we get to the point where we need to explode. So my main point here is don't explode early, wait for it a little bit as you are going to those bigger lips. Now that we have talked about our timing, let's talk about our form and how it varies slightly. Now we're still going for that Jhop form, but as I start my explosion and I'm gonna have to use my upper body as a counterweight here, see how my upper body is kind of a little forward here-ish? That's because this lip isn't that steep. Now, if I wanted to get more front wheel lift to go higher, sure, my upper body would need to go back farther. Now that translates directly into going off of a steeper lip. If I come into the steeper lip and I start to explode, notice that my legs are still at that angle pushing straight down into the face of the jump. But my upper body is much more straight up. And that's because I have to use this mass as a counterweight to get this front wheel to keep traveling up at this angle. Right? Now, if, say, I went back too far. If my upper body was here, I'm not going to have the ability to counterweight to hold this front wheel to continue going up. A lot of this mass is going to be forward of this rear pivot point of which we're kind of sitting over. It's no longer our bottom bracket. As soon as we go from here to here, our point of weight displacement goes from center to here to centered over to here. And this is where it gets a little more difficult on steeper lips, because you have to trust that I need to lean back a little farther to create that counterweight. All right. And then we go off and all right. And then as we go through, same thing. In the middle of the jump is where we're going to then push through to meet our landing. And landing is exactly the same as on a green jump, which we'll go back to over here. We'll go through, boom, right? Middle of the jump, rolling through. As I land, I'm gonna land front tire first, rear tire, weight straight down into the bottom bracket. Unfortunately, because of how wide the screen angle is, you can't really see it here, but you can tell that there you go, that rear tire touches down and I'm off to the next jump. So, to recap, guys, all right, our main differences are gonna be where we, or just having to hold this preload for a slightly longer amount of time, where my body position is for that counterweight, for that front wheel, and finally speed. But please don't come into these jumps, all right, and I'm gonna go back here and change these both to full speed. We'll go back, sorry. Now, if we listen to the speed here, and now we're gonna go listen to the speed on this guy. We'll go back a little farther. Right, my speed is definitely greater, but I'm not coming in with a triple amount of speed, okay? Because I'm still using the lip they've created and I'm using my good form. Now, finally, please, let's go out. Please also don't try to jump from point A to point B. I mentioned it earlier. If you're doing this, as you go forward, you're going to be unweighting the rear wheel here, which is going to actually start it to rebound earlier and send you OTB. So, hold on to your Jhop form, okay? Don't rely on your speed, and make sure that you're not trying to jump from point A to point B. Start slow. It's okay if you case every once in a while. All right, guys, I hope this helped. All right, guys, that's gonna do it. From taking it to the green jumps to the blue jumps. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a comment. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, become a Patreon, and if you can, sponsor me to go to the Fox US Open. I only need 4 more. It's $100 a piece. The link is down below. Don't forget everything I said earlier in the channel. Ride hard, ride safe, be kind to each other. We'll see you in the next one.